20-yard run out. Good ball for Roberto Carlos. Comes into the penalty area towards Zidane. Nani. Rooney! Oh, wonderful! Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli. Aguero!
Good evening. Good evening. Hope you enjoyed the 95-minute intro there, everybody. How are we all? How are we all? Welcome to the Football Throwdown. This is episode 4, our brand new show. This week we've got a newbie. We've got someone making their debut. We've got somebody that Frank Lampard would probably pick. We'll talk about that in a minute. JJ, big up, man. How are you, JJ? You well?
I'm really good, man. Happy to be on the show. Big up to obviously Dave, Albert, and then obviously everyone in the chat as well, along with yourself. So big up to everyone, man.
Good. Listen, big up to yourself. Big up to yourself. We've got Albert JTV. I want to see if that smile that he usually brings is starting to wane a little bit now that City are winning the treble. How are you, Albert?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I'm suffering from all this disaster talk that's been being spoken about Arsenal. So, I should be in the doldrums, to be honest, shouldn't I? No defeats in 9, so it's going awful at the moment.
It's a bit catty, isn't it? Oh, I was only joking. All right.
No, not you, Savs, not you.
No, I'm joking, man. Listen, I'll move to someone that's always upbeat because he knows where he stands in the football pyramid. Dave, Mr. Nottingham Forest. I saw you were on TV, Dave. I saw a photo of you on TV. That was amazing.
Do you know what, lads? So many people have come up or sent messages saying 74 minutes and 13 seconds into that game, we saw you going, Forrester magic on off the pitch. And I think the fact that they've talked more about me than they have about my team tells you everything you need to know. So I did like Albert's mention of disaster talk. We at Nottingham Forest have got our disaster actions going on at the moment. You know what I mean? So,
well, listen.
It's good to be here.
We won't start with a disaster at Arsenal, but listen, the Arsenal fans, they've been telling everybody, they've been like chests out. Do you know what I mean? They've been penciling in their parade with a bus and their trophy, and all of a sudden, they're struggling to beat teams like West Ham. Everyone beats West Ham, don't they? Shocking. Now we'll come to you in a minute. Look, Dave, no, we don't all beat West Ham. JJ, welcome to the show, mate. Let's start with you, Liverpool. What a wonderful, I should say, a wonderfully up and down season you guys are having. You've massively let me down because I was telling everybody that would listen in my pre-season predictions that, City will win it by 20 points and Liverpool are far too good. They'll be second by miles. And you're not. What's happened? Talk to me about your season so far, JJ.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's seen Liverpool's season so far. I mean, you said it's up and down. Let's be honest. I don't use any profanity, but it's been garbage. It's been trash. It's been dead. Everything really. Like it started off with the kit when it dropped at the beginning of the season. It looked bland, and the season's been bland. It's just followed on. The players have looked stale. The tactics have been dire. We've had the odd performance here and there, but in isolation, they're great, but they don't mean anything when you look at the season. So we beat United 7-0 as an example, and we lost to Bournemouth the next game. So you can't really take those wins in isolation. Don't really mean anything to me. It's been really troublesome, man. The fan base has been completely split as to the reasonings as to why Liverpool are in the position they are in it, and we could be talking about it for hours, which I do daily anyway. So where do you want to start? Tactics, manager, players.
I'll tell you what surprises me is as neutrals, we sit back and watch you absolutely take Man United apart. I sit and watch last night, and it looks like you're going to score. And every time you went forward against Leeds last night, I thought, they're going to score it. They're going to score it. Trent Alexander looked like Ronaldinho, sort of playing central midfield and pulling strings. And then, like you said, 1-0 to Bournemouth and all these kind of really crazy results. This can't be, can it? This can't just be on Sadio Mane leaving the club. There's got to be more to it than that.
No, it's 100%. It's, I mean, look, you can attribute it to, obviously, look, a small part of it is probably Sadio Mane, and I don't mean it as in, oh, Sadio Mane was great and he's left and now we're missing someone. But when you've got a key component of the front three that's been so successful and so, dominant in the Premier League in terms of goal scoring and creating chances, when someone like that leaves, a member of the dressing room, obviously it affects the dressing room. But it's been the tactics of the manager. I'm just going to be dead honest. Dead honest. It's been just like Conte at Spurs to a lesser degree. It's just been more of kind of we're just going to run it and just see what happens. We haven't got the players to go and play this type of way, but I'm still going to do it anyway. And it started in the season with, there's critique about Liverpool not having the midfielders, and the midfield issue has been a problem for years now with Liverpool. In the summer, fans, journalists critiquing him. He was, getting agitated, getting upset about the questions, only to turn around in August and say, look, I was wrong after saying that Morton, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are enough, and Liverpool can't build on that midfield. Who else can we get? We ended up with Arthur Melo, who we got in on loan, who's played 20 minutes in the Champions League. We haven't seen anything since. And it's just been mistake after mistake. And for me, it starts with the manager. I mean, there's reasons as to why, Liverpool can't get this player and that player, and you can look at kind of arguments for investment and stuff. But as I said, we'll be here for ages. But it's predominantly for me, look, where we are in the table, that's a tactical issue. We're not talking about being 20 points of Man City, but we're third or second in the table. We're lingering around 8th and 9th. It's not acceptable.
Listen, there's still a long way to go. And listen, I thank you on behalf of all football fans for battering Man United 7. So that was one good thing. And on that note, welcome to Kaz. Hope you're well, Kaz. How are you, man?
I see a tactic there. It's not going to work on me this time around. The only reason. Let me go on. Let me put things straight here. The only reason I've come on this stream is not for none of you. It's because I won Dave's autograph. I saw him on Sky Sports. I
knew. You young scamp. I did like the message, Kaz, when he went, "Was that you, man?" And I went, "Yeah, it was, yeah." But I was just saying to the boys, Kaz, before you appeared, mate, people would rather, on Sky, would rather look at me than look at Nottingham Forest, mate. You know what I mean?
I don't blame them.
I can be.
More like an eyesore, really.
Listen, just before we move on to some of the other clubs, I feel like we all owe it to Chelsea to quickly discuss. I'm taking it. No one here is Chelsea, so we can laugh and say what we want. I take it. Did you all just watch Chelsea versus Real Madrid?
No.
Yeah, I did. They were in the game for a long time. Like, they could have been 2-0 up.
I feel
Kante missed a couple of chances, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, guys, I don't know about you, and like none of us support them, so it's okay. There's no emotion attached to this at all. I feel like a lot of the games I've watched Chelsea, they've not been dreadful. They're in games, but they cannot put the ball in the net to save their lives, can they? I mean, if ever a team needed a striker, one of Liverpool's 6 strikers, it is definitely Chelsea, isn't it? I mean, what did you make of it, Kaz? What did you make of the game?
I thought they were in the game for most of it. They were playing well. Like, Reece James put in a couple decent balls in the back post. Kante could have 2 goals. Kukurea could have a goal. Havertz should have scored a header.
Yeah,
like they could have literally walked with Madrid, and it's just like Madrid. It just goes to show Madrid just don't need to play well to go through any time in the Champions League, do they? It was just in the end, it was easy pickings.
Did anyone think they would go through tonight? Did anyone give them any chance at all at beating Real Madrid at home?
No chance. No.
I didn't give them like a chance, but I did think there was a possibility purely because of the fact that they've won the Champions League with Di Matteo. So I was like, anything can happen. They are a club that can. I mean, they'll be in the mud and they can still somehow turn around, get a result. And you look back at the season, like, oh look, they were rubbish, but they're still one. I mean, they're the most successful club, English club in the last 10 years. So like
20 years ago.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah,
so,
guys, horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, so you got
closely followed by Spurs. Closely
Yeah,
followed by Spurs with our 1 League Cup. So don't forget us. Don't forget
Glad
us.
you said that.
Listen, I'm not deluded, Albert, about my team's chances like you. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. By the way, I've been giving it so much to Arsenal fans about City winning this league that I will have to stop YouTubing if Arsenal win this league.
You're an oracle at this point.
You will say.
Listen,
Right about Spurs. You're actually pretty right about Man United. Yet now you're being right about Arsenal.
Listen, listen. Do you know what? I should be the most watched YouTuber in the world with all my correct predictions. Akaz. Look, guys. Real Madrid. Let's talk about Real Madrid quickly because so I had a bet with Henry Wright today. If any of you know Henry Wright from Henry Wright TV,
Yep.
we've had a bet. I've said to him that I think City will slap Real Madrid all over the place. I'm not impressed by Real Madrid. Sorry, I know we're talking about football heritage with them and Milan both going through tonight, but I'm not impressed. Is that just me, or am I being really harsh on one of the best teams in the world? Is anyone else impressed by them?
More functional, really. I think. Yeah, I just think they're like. I don't know. I just don't think they'll win it this time because they won it last year. I just think it's City's time and turn to win it. I don't think if it is to be City and Real Madrid in the semi-final, I don't think there'll be a slapping by either side. I reckon it'd be quite tight, but I just see City in better form than Real Madrid at the moment, and I just feel it's City's time to win it. It's not based on any science, any football logic, any algorithms or whatever. It's just that feeling you get in your waterworks. Do you know what I mean? I can't put it any other way.
As a Spurs fan, I don't get feelings of winning things in my waterwork ever. I don't.
Or algorithms, yeah.
God, the last major trophy we won, I was 10, and I was actually at the stadium watching. It was the game when Gaza, as we said, when Gaza got injured against you boys in the 91
I remember that day,
FA Cup final. I know I look 21, but I'm a little bit older. Albert, I watch Real Madrid. I watch a lot of La Liga. I watch them. I feel they're quite like a ploddy type of team. I don't know if that's a word. I feel like they plod quite a lot with the odd moment of brilliance. I can see City going through them like a knife through butter. I look at the chances Chelsea created over 2 legs. Am I turning into a Man City fan? Is the first question, Albert, and the second question is:
yes.
Do you think?
The second question.
Just clip that. I'll be ruined. Do you think, like Dave said, do you think it'll be a tight semi-final, assuming City beat Munich?
Yeah. No, it's a good question. I think it'll be a tight semi-final. I hear what he's saying because even when they won it, the Champions League last season, it's almost like the stars are written. They come through all the tests and they came back and they've dumped a couple of English clubs out. But you know what it is with Madrid, and I get the question you're asking. It's their ability in the final third to pick the right pass, which to me is levels above any team. And to me, Savva, that's the main difference. They've always had quality players. Tony Kroos. I'm glad I've been alive to see Kroos and Modric play, man, because them two is just a clinic watching them play football. It's just amazing. But I hear what he's saying. But
I think they should have retired like a decade ago, shouldn't they? Both of them. They crazy. Just keep going.
What's Modric? Modric must be about 37, surely.
38, 37, 38, yeah.
I thought Dave's age. He's as old as you, Dave, isn't he?
I knew it would come to that. I was just sitting there thinking, you lads are talking about these players like still playing at the age of 38, 39, whatever, and I'm just feeling inspired by it. If I can keep going at 59, you know what I mean? I've still got my boots ready. I have.
But Savage, you know what it is? It's when you watch certain players play, like for example, Pirlo and like Kroos and Modric are perfect examples. How much energy they really waste.
Yeah. True.
They literally let the ball do the talking. If you watch them play,
to be fair, Modric
runs around. That's the crazy.
I don't know if he's just an athlete, isn't he? He just looks after himself. Like Ronaldo, he looks after himself, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
When you watch him,
definitely.
No, I was just thinking, Real Madrid got to summon some sort of powers, man. They got to sell their soul again. Something along those lines, just to stop City. I can't have them winning a treble. That will ruin my whole season. Don't care. Man United as well. Like, we just need to get past Brighton and absolutely do a Mourinho on them on the final in Wembley. Just do it. Just do it. I'll take my chance at penalties. I don't care. Just don't. They're not allowed to treble. It ruin everything. Honestly, it will just sum up the decade, really, for me as a United fan. I can't have it. With Real Madrid, though, they can't be playing Toni Kroos against Man City. This guy is...
But do you know what it is?
He's
Do you know what it
arse
is with
and
Real
cheeks
Madrid,
now,
though?
man.
No, but it is with Real Madrid. It's not only the fact... I agree with Albert saying, look, they always pick the final pass. But it's the fact that even when they go a goal down, even if they're under pressure, and I remember when Liverpool played them last year, they don't look under pressure at all. It's just like, oh, we've gone a goal down. It's all right. It's like a game at 5-a-side. There's no panic. They don't allow the emotions to get a hold of them. And when you've got that spine of, do you know what I mean, Cruz, Modric, Benzema, Courtois, there's so much experience. Even the little players that they chuck in, your Nacho Monreals and your those players that come in, they're so underrated, but they're just, even when he played against us, it was so good. Just so good.
JJ, did you hear at the end of the commentary, the commentator was reeling off how many Champions League each Real Madrid player had won? It was just like, yeah, he's won the 6, he's only won 4, and you're like, just the 4, just the 8. So it's that football heritage. It's that know-how, isn't it? I just slipped that in if you see what I did there. It's heritage. That know-how. It's that kind of getting it over the line. I just think last year, look, they were brilliant. They came back from behind to beat PSG. They did it against Chelsea. They did it against Man City. They did it against not from behind, but then beat Liverpool. I just look at them and I think, like what you're saying with Toni Kroos, I think what you were about to say, Kaz, with players like Kroos playing against Man City, I just think Man City will pass it around them. I don't think Madrid will have a lot of the football, and I question how good they are at the back. I don't know if anyone else.
Don't you remember last year? Do you not remember last year? They had to take off Kroos just to get back into the game, put Camavinga in defensive midfield.
Yeah.
And then the whole game changed. It's not that hard to work out. Even against Chelsea, they had to do the exact same thing, like of last year when they played them as well. So I don't know. I don't know why I would definitely not be playing Kroos. Maybe at the Bernabeu, you can risk it if you wanted to, but I just don't. Even Valverde in the defensive, even that. Where's Tchouaméni at? Or just someone with a bit of legs and a bit of muscle, because I'm not joking. KDB will have a fun time.
But I think they don't mind. They don't mind sitting back and not having the ball. Like when they played Liverpool in the Champions League final, they just said, "Yeah, have the ball. We don't mind. We don't mind." And they know that even though City they've been dominant, you can still get at them on a counter. That's the one place they're vulnerable.
Yeah. What do they say? Styles make fights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. So Real Madrid are the one team I know currently that they don't have a style of play. They actually just they change up their style of play for each particular game, and they plan individually. So when he came and played against Liverpool, he said, look, I know how Liverpool are going to play. We're going to play like this. When he plays against this Chelsea team, they tried to dominate the ball a bit more because they knew that Chelsea were going to try to play them on the counter. And it's just intriguing to watch. Carlo Ancelotti is you got to give him props to what he's doing at the moment.
But is the difference, guys, this year? Like if you remember both legs last year, Man City should have been out of sight. You know what I'm going to say? Is the big man up front? Is he the difference this year? Because
that's the question.
The first leg will be at. I mean, look, we're talking. Sorry, I'm talking like they've beaten Bayern. I just can't see Bayern beating City by 4 goals. The first leg's going to be at Real Madrid. Is that right?
Yeah.
I feel like that could be 2-0 half time. I'm that confident with how poor they are at the back. But,
I think being at Madrid, all City's got to do is just keep a clean sheet. You won. Go to the Etihad. I think you beat them.
Yeah.
I think so. But the only way is if they do want to. The thing is, when the way Chelsea play compared to what we saw with Madrid, they got 5 at the back, and they play quite tight and narrow at the back. Where City will have a fullback go beyond, 2 midfielders go beyond, and then before you know it, you've got 3-on-3 maybe. Rodri, Ruben Diaz, and that against their front 3. That's where they got. See, this is where I think Pep kind of will start overthinking it a little bit again, and could be his own downfall. Because we've seen him do it before. It's just, no, just go play a game, you'll probably win it. But then he's like, what about Vinicius? Is it better to play Kyle Walker this game instead of a Kanji at right back? I promise you, Kanji plays right back this game. Vinicius he's gonna eat him up.
It's a reverse. It seems a reverse from a psychological point of view. It seems a reverse of the situation in the league. In the league, It's City with all the know-how and the experience, and it's Arsenal trying to
Yeah.
get their first one. In the Champions League, it's Real Madrid that have got all the experience and all the nous, and City now trying to get their first one. So I think Real Madrid won't worry psychologically because they'll think, well, we've done it on X number of occasions before, and we've got that mentality and that mindset to be able to get it done. City have got this, crikey, if we don't win it, we're not going to cement our legacy. And the point that Kaz makes about Pep overthinking it, I think it's a really good one, because I think the last time City got to the final against Chelsea, he patently overthought it. What he was doing, he faffed around with his team that night, and I thought Chelsea deserved to win that night when Havertz scored. So I think, maybe that burnt Pep, and maybe he'll have learned a lesson from it. But City have got the question to answer in Europe. Real Madrid have answered all their questions in recent seasons, So I think it's a psychological aspect that interests me.
Yeah, so I agree. Definitely.
Let me ask you then, guys. Look, I'm literally talking as though Madrid versus City is the winner of the Champions League, whoever wins that. Does anyone want to put up a fight for the winners of the other semi-finals? So we're looking at what AC Milan have gone through tonight. Napoli seem to have collapsed not collapsed from winning it, but their results have been poor lately. They've now gone out the Champions League. They were a lot of people's dark horses. It looks like they'll be playing. Well, it's going to be set up for a Milan derby in the semi-final.
Yeah,
could either of those, or Benfica, could either of those do anything against City or Madrid? Have they got enough in them?
Milan, I run it into Milan 2010 days. Just park that bus, mate. Get Barella on the ball and absolutely, Lukaku, mate. Do what you've done. Just do what you got to do, mate. Honestly, Inter Milan have been very impressive in the Champions League this year. Not in the league so much, but in the Champions League they've been very impressive. I'll be honest. I'm not just saying that because I think Mo might be watching. I don't like Inter Milan because of Mo. So that's it. It's just, but I think
you're talking Jose vibes, right?
In a final, you can't write anybody off. It's nothing's chalk and cheese unless it's Tottenham. And let's be honest. Let's be honest. When it was Tottenham in the final, Tottenham in the final, come on, man, that penalty just set the tone, didn't it? But even then, it was only what 2-0 win?
About 2 minutes in, isn't it?
Yeah, that just set the tone for the whole game, man.
So why have we started digging out Tottenham? What's gone on? Why have we naturally for that?
I was just kind of waiting because you have been in the final recently. No, he was in the final recently. That's just like everyone when it was Liverpool, it's like no hope. But Inter Milan actually got credibility. AC Milan definitely got credibility. If you're talking heritage, football heritage, right? Ching ching. But yeah, that's it. You just never know.
I think AC Milan. I think Istanbul, AC Milan. I think when you're talking about stars aligning, like anything can happen if they get there. In Istanbul.
I like that one. Yeah. Okay.
Maldini to start.
Yeah.
Shevchenko taking penalties, mate.
Gattuso's coming out of retirement.
I'd take Maldini over any one of Spurs defenders right now at his age. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. So we're going with the winners of City, Madrid. Realistically,
we are winners. But we are, Sav. But Cassie's point about it's on the day. Wimbledon beat Liverpool in an FA Cup final. Wigan beat Manchester City in an FA Cup final. To quote two examples. Like Kaz says, one of the Milan clubs, and it's likely to be one of those two, going to Istanbul to take on the winners of, what you would imagine to be the big two. Yeah. Then they'll go, whoever wins the other semi-final, it's going to feel no pressure because they'll be pretty much discarded. You know what I mean? So they can go there and think, well, we're making up the numbers. We can relax and just play our game. And, this is what sustains me through Forest season. Strange things happen. It hasn't happened yet, but you never know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, save the best till last, Dave. You need it in the last 7 or 8 games.
Or Saturday. Sorry, JJ.
Oh, shit.
I wouldn't be surprised. Liverpool have been like Robin Hood this season, taking points from the rich and giving them to the poor. So you might be in luck.
That's a brilliant Nottingham analogy, mate. I like that.
Brilliant.
Let me ask then. I mean, look, last thing on the Champions League for me. Look, I truly believe if Man City were to play either Inter or AC in the final, it could go down as as the world record, the record in the Champions League for the most amount of possession for one team against another team. I just think it would be the most one-sided final of all time. But hey, that's just me. Guys, let's go back to the Premier League. I'm interested. Look, your two teams are playing each other this weekend, as you just said. We've got Nottingham Forest. Dave, you're in absolutely diabolical trouble down the bottom there. And you're playing you're playing Liverpool off the back of, if I'm not wrong, your last two was what, the draw with Arsenal and then the 6 against Leeds, unless I've missed a game in between there. Is that right, JJ?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Dave, what's the game plan, the chances of beating this Liverpool team who have shown they can score a lot of goals and will be at home?
Well, Nottingham Forest have been out and requisitioned a lot of tanks and armoured cars this week, and a team of bricklayers to brick up the Forest goal. Anything
gonna need
to
it.
Try and stop that. I mean, the thing is, these teams. So let's take Manchester United and Liverpool. They're a level above us. I mean, Manchester United the weekend were just so good to watch. I thought. I mean, it was painful because I don't want to see my team get beat, but United were terrific. The midfield three of Lazarus, Casemiro, and Fernandes were just far too good. They were so good. And I tell you what, Christian Eriksen, all the Forest fans were like going, "Oh, Sabitza's gone off," and they were going like that, and I went, "Look who's coming on." And he's magnificent. I tell you what, I mean, I don't do this salty loser business. I do my love of football right. And when Eriksen comes on, I'm in awe of the guy. There's a guy who was dead technically for a while, and now he's playing beautiful football in the hardest league in the world. He's an incredible human being, and I have so much admiration for him. Casemiro goes around. You don't see what he does, but he does a lot that you don't see. He's fantastic. And, Ozil is a diva, but boy, can he play. Fernandes, he's chipping away. All the Forest fans were, God, he's a big mad arse. We can't be doing with him, And then add on top of that, Anthony, I think, had his best game for Manchester United. So they were a cut above us. They deserved to win. We didn't create enough. And then you think, well, I sat there last night, and there were two aspects to it. One was I want Liverpool to beat Leeds to help our situation, which, thank you, JJ, you did. That was nice because I actually think of the 5 at the bottom who all lost. Our performance was probably better than the Saints', Leicester's, Everton's, and Leeds's. Even though we were poor and we were outclassed, I thought we had more in our game than the other 4 did in theirs. And then you think to yourself, the other aspect of it is, well, thank you very much for beating Leeds United. And who do we play next? Oh, hell's teeth! Not that lot at Anfield. You know what I mean? So the way I am about it is, as a Forest,
you've already beaten them though, right, Dave? You've beaten them this season.
I was going to bring that up when JJ did his wonderful Robin Hood thing, and he paid heed to Nottingham. I think our best win of the season was that one. I take the point that on the day Liverpool were very disappointing, and too many of their better players just did not perform at City Ground. But it's the only game this season where I think we're the poorest midfield in the whole division by a mile. I think we're worst team at ball retention. Dreadful. We give it away far too often. Southampton have got Ward-Prowse, so they're better than us. Leicester have got Maddison, they're better than us. Everton have got Iwobi. Leeds have got Aronson and Jack Harrison. We haven't got anybody like that. But that day against Liverpool,
I like Yates. I quite like Yates.
Yeah. Do you know what, Kaz? That's a brilliant point. We've missed him. And the reason we beat Liverpool that day was our midfield three, which was him, Freuler, and Kouyaté, just decided to be really physical with Liverpool. There was no finesse. It was just brute force and blunt trauma. And I thought we deserved to beat Liverpool. That was our best performance of the season. But I'm telling you, the cold-hearted reality, the ruthless reality, is that I can't see us winning there on Saturday.
I can.
I honestly cannot see us. I mean,
Kaz, no, you can't.
Yes, I can.
You can't, Kaz. Come on.
I can see them getting a point.
Come on, I want to hear it.
Awoniyi, he's going to be a bit more fit. Look, they play. I think where your manager went wrong in Cooper is he decided to bring 4 or 5 players back who've just come back from flipping injury. I'm thinking you've done a mistake there. It's like Man United under Ollie when he decided to go with 5 players that came back from injury against Crystal Palace, and we got beat 3-1 at Old Trafford. I think it was, or 2-1, something like that. And I think that's just where it just went wrong. There's a little bit more fitness.
Yeah,
Look, if you don't notice a pattern with Liverpool, they spank a team, and then it don't matter where they play, they just go and just put in a howler.
Hang on.
The only difference this time is
Anfield.
I don't care. But what's it called?
No, but what do you mean you don't care?
No, I don't know, because
the
you know
only
what it is?
team that's beaten them at Anfield this year is Leeds.
Yeah, but I didn't say they're gonna win. I think they can get a point. You know, like
I tell you what, Kaz, if I was to get a point off JJ on Saturday, mate, I would be like, you know, in some kind of hog heaven. You probably wouldn't see me because I'll be floating.
They got Lewis.
I'll probably be on the telly again on Saturday because I'll be floating across the pitch at Anfield. You know what I mean? But I mean, the thing is, the way I look at it is, I've got this maybe deluded belief that there's one of those results in Forest where you think, Jesus, where did that come from? You know, like Bournemouth beating Liverpool, Liverpool, or you know, Everton
that's all you've got to do.
Arsenal. Yeah. So I just think that, well, the likelihood is we're going to get a stripe in.
It's a cat.
You just never know. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just looking. I'm at the moment. I'm just looking forward to going, keeping my fingers crossed, going to one of the best stadiums. I mean, so many fantastic stadiums already this season. You know, last year it was like Kenilworth Road, and it was Oakwell, and it was like St Andrews, and all these places. Now it's like, I mean, where my context comes from, and this is my sustenance, is that 18 months ago we were bottom of the Championship. And if somebody said to me that night at Bristol City or that night at Coventry or wherever, you'll be going to Old Trafford, the Emirates, you know, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Anfield, I'd have said, do me a favour. So I've got to enjoy it for what it is. I mean, we might be down again in like 6 weeks, and then it might not happen again for 10 years. So I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to keep a smile on my face. I'm going to give credit to opposition teams who beat us. And I'm not going to bring all the... If I do a good deed, if I'm nice to JJ, nice to Albert, nice to Kaz, nice to you, Sam, then my belief is that if I do nice things, then nice things will come back to me. So
yeah, you
karma, mate. Absolutely.
I can't see you getting relegated, though. I'll be honest. I think Leeds go down.
I think
Leeds go down. They're done. Any fixtures they go into next is complete. I think if I'm correct, you've got Southampton. You got Southampton and Chelsea and Crystal Palace, where I think you can accumulate 5 to possibly 7 points out of them ones.
It's Liverpool, Liverpool away, Brighton at home next Wednesday night, Brentford away, Saints at home on a Monday night. Do you know what?
That's the world record. Look at that.
Do you know what my mate said? Why is the film critic Mark Commode at the City Ground? Do you know what I mean? So, and then my best mate said it was John Craven off Kids TV in the 70s.
John Craven,
swiftly moving on from John Craven. So,
thank you.
Dave doesn't give his team a chance. Kaz is just chipping in there to have a little go at Liverpool. He thinks it's going to be a draw. JJ,
he's after my autograph. That's what he's after.
I just watched you. I mean, we could say it's Leeds, and to be fair, they did concede 5 the week before to rampant Crystal Palace. But you opened them up for fun. Are you expecting another goal route against Nottingham Forest, or is this going to be a tougher game than Leeds?
I think it will be a tougher game. I think if I look at Nottingham Forest, their performance against United. United didn't have loads of chances where they were just cutting them open, and it looked like United were going to go into 5 and 6s. It looked like a clinical performance from United, really, really good, the way it level above, but they didn't kill them off like that. And of course, they've got problems up front, United themselves, in terms of not having that proper number 9, which might have made a difference. But I think Nottingham Forest, they're just a bit more organised. They've had a consistent
defensively,
defensively as well.
I tell you what, JJ, that's a really good point, actually, mate. I mean, I look at our performance on Sunday, and if I'm taking the good stuff out, and there's always good stuff, and I look at, Keylor Navas made some fantastic saves. You're talking about Champions League. He's got 3 or 4 from Real Madrid, so he's a quality goalkeeper. Yeah. I thought Nico Williams had a decent game, got forward. Scotty McKenna did all right. Renan Loddy did all right. The 6 at the back, I thought were credible. The 5 further forward were poor. I actually think we've signed ourselves a really, really good central defender, in Felipe. Now that guy, lads, gets into Atletico Madrid's defence under Diego Simeone, and that is a footballing defensive academy, Atletico Madrid. Now, anybody who gets in there can defend. I mean, Phil Foden will tell you about Felipe. Now, he's come in, and I think of all the millions of signings we've made, and it seems like millions, I think he might well be the best one. I don't normally like guys with ponytails, but I make an exception for this guy because I just think he's been terrific. So I think on Saturday at Anfield, he's our cornerstone. And if he can organise Scotty McKenna or Moussa Niakate in the fullbacks, and I'm guessing Steve will go with a three that's a five with wing backs, then we might stand a chance. I don't think we'll be as disorganised as Leeds were last night. I mean, Leeds just basically gave up the ghost.
Leeds, really... When you look at Leeds, it's quite interesting because they've had a style of play that was so consistent. Whether you rated it, whether you thought it was effective or not, they all knew how they would play. And when the stars aligned and they were on song, it was very similar to what Liverpool are doing this season. When they were on it, they were on it, and they could beat anyone in the league. They could beat anyone under Bielsa. Now that they've had these that Jesse Marsh has come in, and now they've got Javi Gracia, it's just all over the place. You don't know what they are. You've got some players up. They want to dribble, others want to press, others want to get. They've got Rocker in midfield who's trying to play. They've got McKennie who's running about. It just didn't make any sense.
Did you see all the hanky chiefs out yesterday?
Yeah.
Did you see that? I mean, which is not an English thing to do, really, is it? But everyone was waving. Yeah, it was bad. I mean, guys, what did we all make? And JJ, I'll come to you first, but I think we've all seen it in the last 3 or 4 games. Liverpool moving Trent further forward into more of a. Let's be fair, trying to copy Pep, but moving him into a midfield position, he seems to have a lot more joy on the ball there. Is this long term, guys? Start with you, JJ. Is this long term, or are we just seeing this as a stopgap?
I think originally it was reactionary. If I'm being honest, I think Klopp went and we tried to do a full press on City. He realised and Jota was getting moved all over the place because Stones kept coming into midfield. And he's like, what does Jota do? Does he stay out wide? Does he follow him into midfield? If he does, he leaves a ball straight on from Akanji into Mahrez's feet, which obviously then isolates Robbo. He's gone, let's do this against Arsenal, because Arsenal, similarly, they press from the front. So Martinelli had that same issue. That first half, I don't think Trent did really well against Arsenal, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of people are talking about it. I think if Arsenal beat us in that game, I think that operation's dead and buried. I think the fact that we were able to go and get a performance through actually aided this kind of move. It looks decent. I mean, look, he's passing the ball. He's not getting the ball in the dangerous positions anymore. I think a lot of the time Konate is getting the ball, and we actually conceded the ball from Konate dilly-dallying on the ball. Usually that's where Trent picks up the ball in those positions. So he's moving into midfield, and it's quite weird because he's had 3 assists now in the last 2 games. One of the assists was obviously down the centre. That was the last goal for Darwin Nunez, which is actually a lovely ball clipped over the top. The other 2 assists have actually come from a right-back position when he's down the byline and he's squaring the ball and he's cutting it across. So there's all this talk about Trent and him being able to play in midfield, but he's not playing passes the way a midfielder would. And what I mean by that, a couple of times you can see him trying to play this slide rule pass in between the 2 centre-backs, and he's just overhitting it. Now, I'm not saying he can't do it or it isn't in his locker, but that's something that midfielders like whoever, you can chuck any name out there, they've played there throughout their whole careers. You're talking about academy level, under 21s, Championship, Premier League. They've got so many games under the belt playing in those positions. Look, Trent's a great stopgap there now. Is that the best in quality that Liverpool can get in that position who can do that? And could you not have Trent still creating from out wide? I'm not sure, because he's still most creative from those positions. I think it's quite funny because I was talking about in the group chats, and the actual first goal that Liverpool scored, the ball's come to him, and in a DM position, he's tried to go and play a first-time pass, and that got intercepted, and he's won it back with a handball. Now, if Rodri had gone and played that pass for Pep, for example, if Busquets done that, the manager would be slating him, because as a DM, you need more of a controller. You got to pick your passes out. That pass might have to come back in to go back out, whereas he's still thinking about, do you know what I mean, being really direct. So, look, he's got loads of ability with those long balls. I think there's still a bit of finesse he needs to go and find. We'll have to just wait and see. I think the sample size is really small to know to know whether that's the future for him or not. I think he still needs a couple games there. But yeah, I mean, the problem is when you go and play Trent in that position, he's still asked to defend out wide. So he's still running back out wide to go and stop crosses coming into the box. And Konate's still going out. And then you've got the problem of when we're on the ball, now we're asking Konate to have more of the ball. And Konate, out of all our defenders, is probably the worst on the ball technically. And he's the one that we don't really want on the ball. We'd rather have Van Dijk or Trent or even Fabinho on the ball. So that's another conundrum now, because teams are actually just going to be like, Konate, have the ball. Go on, show us what you can do. And look, he's not the worst on the ball. He's not terrible. But is he going to create from that position? I'm not sure. I think Trent gave teams a conundrum out wide. So it's interesting. We'll have to just wait and see, man.
Kaz, what do you make of Trent Alexander-Arnold? Because there's lots of debates about this. And I actually had a really deep debate with Grizz the other day on the Big Six about this. Because I think he's really bad defensively. But there's I don't think I can remember a right back with that much ability on the ball as Trent Alexander-Arnold. What do you make of him from a United point of view?
I want him. Put him into my system. See what happens there. I'll control the game. As simple as that. Yeah, I play inverted. Like, I play with inverted fullbacks. I've seen Wan-Bissaka inverted in the opposition half. Actually, against this man's team right here. And he was playing, he was wicked. Not just that, even a game before that. I just think if you're going to play Trent more on a touchline, then you're going to need a centre mid that's able to cover and a ball playing centre back that can retain the ball as well and be a little bit more comfortable. That's why I think players like where Matip's quite good on the ball, they did quite help. I don't think Konate is the greatest. He's more of a brute, Konate, but it doesn't really help the case. I've never known a right back to get so much hate in my entire career. Like, honestly, why doesn't Reece James get the same amount of energy? Because if I'm correct, Reece James has been absolutely garbage this season. Defensively, he's had a couple good games. Attacking wise, he's had also a couple good games, but majority of the games he's been arse. So I just don't understand why he's like a scapegoat. Do people not like ability and wicked players no more? My fan base idolize Scott McTominay and crap. And it's like, why? It's just, I just don't understand it.
God loves a trial.
What it is with Trent, though, is that although he's got the ability, and I hear that, Kaz, right? Up until a couple of weeks ago, he only had 2 assists in the Prem. So you're basing him being in the team on providing assists. It reminds me a lot of when Ozil was at Arsenal, and maybe Albert can allude to it. When Ozil was on form and he's creating and doing all the chances, you've got to have him in the team. Or when the team's doing really badly. But the problem is it is because when he's in that position and defensively, and this is the problem, is that he's not like Liverpool fans weren't complaining that he was caught out of position, like he was in midfield and they're running down the wing and Konate's had to cover, like we even saw against Leeds yesterday. What it was that 1-on-1 he would get beat and then he's walking. And it's that type of attitude, and it's the ability that it's the fact that he didn't want to defend against Arsenal in that second half. After that Xhaka incident, you can see he was on it and he was trying. And I think that's what Liverpool fans are talking about more. It's not about necessarily being the world's best defender, but especially if you're playing right back, you have to be able to defend.
I'll give you another option. Roberto Carlos wasn't great defensively. No one wants to forget about that.
No, it weren't like that, Kaz.
I don't get what it is for Trent. I don't get the hate for Trent. Don't get me wrong. Your whole squad's off form. I remember doing a combined 11 for Arsenal, Liverpool, and only Alisson got in. That is it. So if anything, it's because your midfield. If I remember, Trent goes forward. If your fullback goes up, why is it that I remember seeing a discombobulated midfield of Curtis Jones, who was a little bit ahead, looked like he was in attacking mid position, and 2 of your centre mids, and Fabinho, and I think it was Henderson, that couldn't even get back on time just to go help. This is what I don't understand. Look, it's down to your manager to implement a system when things are going wrong. Like, my manager has tried to implement a system into this team at the start of his regime at Man United. Didn't work. You know, he tapped it up and changed it and see what to suit the hair, to suit players that are there. You've got a garbage midfield. This, for me, it's not down to Trent. It's just down to your midfield. Yes, he's crap in 1-on-1s, but most fullbacks in this day and age are crap in 1-on-1 situations because the modernized fullbacks are attacking. And I get it. You want some ability to defend, but really and truly, what about Zinchenko? Guy, it's arse at defending. He is garbage.
No, he is. But the first thing,
you've got the most big chances missed in your team, you know. By the way,
yeah. And the first thing is effort, and effort is a massive one. If you're going in, any team will go up and down the league. If you're saying players not putting in an effort, especially defensively, when things are going bad, when shit hits the fan, that's a massive problem. The second thing is that even though he's got all that ability with those long passes and those amazing passes that you go and see, and those Hollywood balls, a lot of the time he had 2 assists up until that league. Up until a couple of weeks ago, he had 2 assists. So you're basing him being in the team or him having to play based on his attacking output. If he's not providing attacking output or he's not being effective, that's when it becomes a hindrance. Because what happens is that it's natural. It's like the striker that keeps missing. Werner used to do that at Chelsea all the time. After a while, teams are like, he's never going to score. And then they're confident to go and come out. And that's what happens with Trent, is that first, teams will sit back. After a while, they just leave Trent and they're like, go on, cross the ball because the team's not gonna score anyway. And I know it's a team issue, but especially in this position, when they're targeting that side, you've got to have a bit of awareness. And it's not about him being caught out of position. It's sometimes when he's even in position, ball going over his head, he's not reacting to it.
Sorry, Sav, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Albert.
Yeah, I'll say to ask JJ really. Like obviously the Trent thing's gone on for quite a while. This is not a new thing. It's with Liverpool. It's definitely with England as well. Hence the reason why he's probably not in the team, because Southgate doesn't trust him defensively.
Southgate's just crap anyways. But
even though he's not actually come out and said that. But is it just a simple factor with Trent with defending? It's not that you have to be super world class at that aspect of your game, but is it a coaching thing? Is he just not paying attention? What is it? Is he 24?
Yeah, he's 24. He's 24.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, Kaz has got a point. I think a lot of it is coaching, as I alluded to at the beginning. I think tactics this season have been appalling from the manager. But at the same time, it's basic kind of I'm facing up my man and I'm trying hard. And look, there's loads of defenders. Look, we're not expecting him to be Wan-Bissaka, but some of the efforts I've seen defensively have been absolutely shambolic. And if I'm being honest, that move of him to go into the midfield is actually to protect Trent in a defensive sense. And what I mean by that is if he's in midfield when Liverpool are losing the ball, and you can evidently see he's in midfield, no one complains about him not being at right back, because you can see, but he was in midfield then. So it's Konate's job to go and cover. The difference is
his job, though.
Midfield, but it doesn't technically. I think Klopp even alluded to it in his presser. He said Trent's always played in midfield, but now we've just made it more apparent. And now when you think about it, it's like with Henderson. It's like with Henderson. When Henderson's in midfield, if Fabinho's in midfield and he runs out wide to go and stop a cross coming in, no one's complaining at Fabinho saying, why weren't you there to stop the cross from out right back? Now,
I just wondered, like, I think with the kind of highlighting this year of Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think this is like the first time in about 4 years that Liverpool haven't been dominant. I'm not saying you've won the league, because City have won it more, but you've been there or thereabouts, like on your 90-odd points, losing 1 or 2 games a season and spending most of the game with the ball. It feels like this is the first year where it started to go a bit wrong. And I think what's happened for me is, I think more than ever, it's highlighted Trent's defensive frailties. And I think that's what you were saying, Kaz, in terms of don't people like players with talent? I think everyone's seen how good he is going that way. I think this year's been his biggest test going this way, and I think he's just struggled. That's all.
This is where it comes down to the coach and not on Trent. Let me tell you now, why is there nothing? Because if I'm correct, Trent's got like 5 assists this season and a goal. Robbo has been worse than him as a fullback. Robbo's been crap. No one points fingers at Robbo just because he has a bit of work ethic about him and a bit of attitude. Like, that's not sorry, the game isn't about attitude and all that stuff, because I'll just be playing Elanga every game, Scott McTominay and Fred again and again, and Bruno. Let's just put back McFruno as the midfield 3. It all comes down for me anyways, down to the midfield 3 not being able to cover correct, and they haven't got the legs. It's not his fault why Henderson is getting older. Fabinho is actually a fake. His actual age is 59. And that obviously Curtis Jones ain't logically all there. That's not his fault. No, I'm not saying. I'm not going to say. But I'm not going to say though. I would say I'm not going to say. Look, Trent's not. Of course, he has to take some blame. You are a player. You owe it to your fans to just put in a bit of effort and show that you care. It's just a bit like with your missus or your boyfriend or whatever you deal with in life. You just want them to show that they care about you. It's the same with Trent. When things are going shit, can you just show that you care at least? Same thing when we were doing good, you care then, but when it's all in the pan, why have you all gone AWOL all of a sudden? That's when people like to dip. But I like the way your system is. Every system has got one sort of flaw. There's a reason why City and Arsenal at its current rate are prone to counter-attacks because it's the risk. I thought that Trent coming inside is helping out the midfield more time with control, which you've lacked this season. And by the way, I don't think Nottingham Forest got the worst midfield three this season. I think it's actually Liverpool is down in the bottom three with that, because I just think I think when Fabinho's lack of cover or Henderson's lack of just, I just think his legs are going. It's just that he's just there to help that control, and that allows Salah to push up. And yes, Konate is at risk, but that allows Salah now to get a little bit more closer to the striker. Like yesterday, I saw with Gakpo, like against Arsenal, a little bit closer. I think the system's okay for where it is now.
But Kaz, the three at the back actually does it. Is a difference. What it is that Salah stretches when Trent moves outside. Salah stretches the pitch and he stays wide. Yeah. He stays wide. And Konate's job is to go and find Salah or knock it into Trent, and Trent knocks it around the corner into Salah when he's high and wide. Henderson, the whole game, and I know a lot of people don't want to go and talk about, he makes a lot of those selfless runs, and that's been his
on the right hand side.
The last two games. And he makes those runs in between Gakpo and Salah, and he makes that run in between, the same type of run that a De Bruyne might get, but he gets the ball instead. But he's making that selfless run where they're testing it. It's like, go on, are we going to find Henderson? Or are we going to play it into Salah? Salah then drops deep, and this whole season he's been out wide. We've actually changed the way we kind of play to be able to go. We've changed the way, like Liverpool have changed the way they wanted to play to go and actually accommodate a Trent. So Trent, a couple of times, we've even gone and said, you're not bombing forward anymore. We want you to stay deeper. Hence why he's not by the byline crossing the ball a lot of the time. It's much, much deeper. If you look at Robertson's even dropped deeper. So there's a lot of things that we, like, Klopp's gone and done. And I'm people know my thoughts about Klopp anyway, but there's a lot of things that he's done to go and try to accommodate this player. And yet again, we're doing something to accommodate him. But the problem is that it might go and cause more issues because he's got these frailties. And I think moving him into midfield is to actually get him away from being out wide, because it means that Henderson can stop that pass going into feet, and Konate, because of the type of the player he is, he can deal with that going out wide. And
I just think if you get another midfield, if I feel like you get another midfield, it sorts out a lot of these issues. And I've got a perfect player, Bruno Fernandes, yeah? He is not aesthetically great looking on the ball whatsoever. He is disgusting, and sometimes it's awful. It's worse than cheeks, right? Like, it's like, why do you keep giving the ball away every single time? You have to do the Hollywood ball. But now you're seeing players that he doesn't have to track back as much. He doesn't have to do this because if you put the select players around a certain player, their faulties become less and less apparent to the eye. That's why now Bruno Fernandes is looking a little bit better because Casemiro and Eriksen are playing. That's why with Trent, you've lost the wire now. You've lost a couple midfielders due to age and all that stuff. And now, obviously, the problems are highlighted again. No one's going to talk about Van Dijk and how he's looking arse as well these days. He's not looking the same anymore. Like before, I remember when it used to be Van Dijk, Matip, and Robbo would obviously get back more time just to do defending, and Van Dijk alone will just stop it. And Fabinho was the anchor and make it even worse. Just win the ball back and go again. You don't have that this season. And of course, it's being shown. Obviously, like, I don't think Trent's the issue. I just think it's the whole coaching situation. And obviously, as easy as it sounds, it's the recruitment settings of it all. You haven't done anything to accommodate the more luxury type players like Trent.
That's what it is.
I just think Liverpool have just run out of juice. I think Liverpool have chased City for these last 3 or 4 years and come up short, apart from that one season where they were unstoppable and they won the title. I just think this Liverpool team is coming to the end of its cycle. Cass is right. The midfield isn't quite what it was. Virgil, to me, isn't quite what he was. Konate looked a little bit vulnerable tonight. I mean, it probably won't matter on Saturday because of the level of the opposition. I just think Liverpool are coming to the end of an era. Like Henderson and Fabinho. I saw Fabinho. I saw Liverpool in the cup at our place last year when our championship side actually gave them a decent run for their money. And it was a changed Liverpool team, but they just looked that class that they were. And actually, the Liverpool that I've seen this year, certainly at our place, we said that the Liverpool we played in the Premier League wasn't a patch on the Liverpool we played in the FA Cup last year. And there's just a sense that they banged their heads against a brick wall chasing City. And it's like West Ham finished 6th or 7th 2 years running, and now they're having a drop off. And I just feel Liverpool are in this drop off with Trent. I don't know where all this business started. Did one bloke write an article slagging him to pieces, and then somebody took it up? I think there's a perception about Trent. There's a perception about a lot of players.
I think, Dave. I think they
you
were.
Could take. I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name. Yeah.
If I remember, just quickly, Dave. I remember. I think at the beginning of this season, look, I think I've seen a lot of people saying this previous seasons, but in patches. I think if I remember rightly, at the beginning of this season, there was this consistent spell where 4 or 5 games it felt like he was making a mistake every game and getting roasted. And it was like at that time, every left winger that seemed to play against Liverpool would get man of the match. I'm not knocking Alexander-Arnold. He's not that great defensively, but that for me isn't his game. It's just now that Liverpool have run out of legs a little bit, and as Kaz said, haven't got those players around him. I think you are seeing why now he's probably going to be pushed that little bit higher at the pitch, because he's not a right back.
The worst player for it is Fabinho. Fabinho used to do so much work.
He's dropped off.
He's got to be probably the worst DM. He's probably got to be got to be down as bottom 3 worst DMs in the league this year. Because it's for me. Look, I don't know about if you agree. You said Yates. Yeah, Yates. You said Yates missing is the massive point of why it's so easy for
he's
us.
A presence. He's not a great player. He's just a presence.
Casemiro, Rod. The DM is so important. Fabinho's drop off is mental, and I just think without that, it makes the defense vulnerable and make Van Dijk look worse.
Have you seen Pierre Højbjerg play football?
He's not a 6. He's not a 6 for me.
You guys don't rate him, no?
No, I like Højbjerg, but I don't think he's a 6. I think he's actually better because I've been watching stats for so long. Yeah, like I don't even like stats, but I remember doing the DMs just around the league. Who's the main DM? Højbjerg gets up the pitch really well, and he scores some vital goals. I just think he's a good. Just go like Xhaka. Just go be a nuisance. Move the ball on. If you can get a shot off, great, and give it to the better players. When it comes to highlighting defense, when you see him actually defend Højbjerg next to the defense, he's so close to them. It's like, mate, you don't have to be kissing their ass. Please, just move forward a little bit, because that's why Tottenham for me always prone to long shots, and that's why Lloris gets packed in.
Question for JJ. Sorry, Kaz, to cut across you, mate. The way you talk about it, JJ, and Savva's just kind of alluded to it. Do you think Klopp is trying to hide Trent to help him out, to help him through his problems?
I do.
Because in a way, I understand that you kind of help a player through his problems, and you put the metaphorical arm around him. But you can't twist your team out of shape for one guy. You know, that's the way I look at it.
But that's what
he's been highlighting.
Exactly, and that's what I'm looking at when I see Trent moving into that position, because him moving from right back, like if we lose the ball in those situations, especially if you look at it on a tactics board, you see literally.
Sorry, JJ. Dave does this wonderful
young man. Get some tea, get to bed, and get some night's kip. And don't bother me no more.
And even Bill's comment at the bottom, that's clear.
Do you know what? Actually,
there's a lot of midfield players that do that. Yeah, there's a lot of midfield players.
That's Harry Maguire for us. Just pointing, but you're like, mate, that should be you doing that, not anybody else.
Do you know what? Eric Dyer has 2 wonderful attributes that have kept him at Tottenham for nearly a decade.
And
Pointing is one. And the second attribute is the fact that he speaks about 3 or 4 languages. And other than that,
and indifferent.
The translator.
Other than that, I would rather have you, Dave, at centre half than Eric Dyer. He is.
Savva, I was asked on this programme last week. One of your lovely contributors on the comments said, "Would I have Eric Dyer at Forest?" I just went, "No," straight away. No, he's awful, mate. Based on his performance in the League Cup tie at our place, where the Trent end were laughing at him, absolutely not.
We laugh at him, and we're about to give him a 3-year deal. But let's not. I don't want to ruin my night by talking about Tottenham, guys. I want to just talk about one more Liverpool player before we move on. This guy signed in the summer for a hefty price tag in Darwin Nunez, and I feel like he gets a lot of stick. I don't know if I'm alone in this. I actually like him. I think he's got a lot of attributes. He needs to settle. I think he snaps a lot in front of goal, but I think he looks like a defender's worst nightmare, running the channels. You know, he's big, he's strong, he's quick, he likes carrying the ball. I don't know what you guys think, but I think he's got way too much stick this year for a first year in the Premier League.
I rate him, sir.
What do you think, JJ? Let me come to you, and then I'll come to Albert. What do you make of Darwin Nunez?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because in the summer, like Kaz probably remembers, I proper wanted him, and he looked so much more like when I watched him for Benfica, especially when we played them in the Champions League. He looked so assured in front of goal in terms of his finishes, where he was calm, he was composed.
Yeah.
His runs have been great, everything's been great, but he doesn't play well back to goal, and he can't, and he snaps at shots. Hence why Klopp's now playing him out wide. And we've had to go in January now and buy a left winger who's a bit more comfortable in the ball. And he's the one that's playing as a centre forward. And he's playing out wide now because spacing behind, there's loads of it and you can run onto it. But it's a weird one. Like you're right. He's got all the minerals, all the tools to be a good player. And he's decent. But he's come into the league when Haaland's scoring 40 goals a season. You're looking at his score 60, and that's the person he's going to be compared with, unfortunately. He's not. Yeah. He's a striker, so he's going to be compared with all the strikers, and he's not doing what Kane does, and he's not scoring like Haaland is. So he's always going to look. He's going to look that tier below. But look, he's a decent player, man. He's a decent. To be fair, he's been our most threatening forward all season, so we can't really knock him.
Albert, what do you think, mate? Because look, I'm an old school fan, and I feel sorry sometimes for when a player comes over. I say comes over, is signed by any club for a huge fee, because a lot of the time the fee is never the player's fault, right? The fee is not decided by them. Do you think this is a case of decent first season, kick on second season, or is this as good as it gets for Darwin Nunez?
No, it's a bit the second. I know you're about to ask the question, but the second bit is a bit harsh. But I'm just looking at his numbers quickly, Sam. So was it 24 games Premier League, 9 goals, Champions League 8 matches, 4 goals. This is the thing. You know what? It's an interesting question, because when you look across strikers across Europe, and let's say they go and dominate and have a good season, you know, Liga or Bundesliga. Yeah, there's always that question mark, but can they do it in the Premier League?
Yeah, of course.
I understand the question. And I'll just say, look, yeah, it's a fair question, but I don't know too many strikers that come over here and hit the ground running. I'd have to go through sort of the history books. But from what I've seen of him, I do like what I see. He has got a bit of a hot head, but that's not always a bad thing. It shows a bit of aggression, but he doesn't. Some in front of God, just think. I don't know whether it's because I'd have to probably look at his sort of what he done at Benfica, but he does snatch a lot and miss a lot and miss some really, really good chances. And people are just going to say the standard thing, oh, you know what, you paid all that money for him, he should be scoring that. You know what? Sometimes strikers miss chances. It actually does happen, believe it or not. I mean, that may be a shock to some football fans, but it does happen. Yeah, the price tag does weigh heavy. But that's not down to him. Let's be serious, innit? But I would kind of look at it, Savva, and probably JJ might feel the same. That look, that his first season in English football is his first season of bedding in. Liverpool have not exactly been super amazing this season, which probably hasn't helped. So to come into that environment where the team isn't where it was maybe even last season or the couple seasons before, let him have his first season in English football. Then judging what you see next season, because Liverpool are going to be ready to go again, depending on what they recruit and buy in the summer and who they offload. Get your players back fit. Yes, injuries happen in football, but if in terms of a Liverpool fan and you know getting the players back, I think you go and you judge him on next season. I think that's fair. That's 100% fair.
I mean, Kaz, let me ask you about Darwin Nunez, because I agree with Albert. I think there's so many players that come over. I don't even think it's just the Premier League. I think lots of players, if you're moving to another country, you know, Haaland being an exception to the rule, not many strikers come over and hit the ground running. Henry didn't. I mean, Sonny was terrible for Spurs in his first season. You could say it for loads of strikers, but what do you make of him? Big price tag.
No, he's garbage, isn't it?
I thought that was coming.
I've seen his finish, and it don't impress me. I mean, he's got good work rate, yeah, great, and everything. Yada yada yada. He's got when the game's obviously sailing, and you're like 5-6, 4-0 up and stuff. He's not going to be the player I look at and be like, yeah, he's going to get me the first goal of the game or anything like that. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I just think he's probably just a good player. He just needs he needs to learn how to stay on side. What's the difference between him and Werner? I'd be so honest. Not much. Not for me. I just think he goes to another league. He looks good again.
Harsh, isn't it? That's a bit
Not
harsh.
not really. Not really. I just
Werner's probably the better footballer, if you're being honest. If we're being dead honest, like Werner, like when he was coming from Leipzig, you could link the ball a bit better. He's a bit more malleable.
you just got to stand the guy. Well, really and truly, if the game's neck and neck and stuff, I just don't think he's the clutch guy. And more or less, you don't probably as a Liverpool fan, if you ever was one, you think he's going to tuck one away.
Sorry, Kaz. Is that? Would you say that's more based on not just what you've seen this season at Liverpool, but what you probably saw at Benfica as well, or do you mean that just on this season?
No, even in Benfica, I was even like I've spoke to I think a couple Benfica fans are never a foul, and they just say they couldn't wait for him to go. Like honestly, he wastes so much, and I don't like a wasteful. I don't like wasteful
like 40
strikers.
goals for them last season.
Yeah, like 30 goals, and still they were like he still missed so much.
They wanted him to go.
Yeah, they said they couldn't stand him. Like honestly, like he was actually so annoying to watch.
I'll give him a lift to Nottingham.
They will take him tomorrow.
I tell you, lads. I take Kaz's point about his finishing needs. I just think what I see in Darwin Nunez, I see a lad who's like does a lot of thinking. He seems quite an intense sort of young lad. You know, I think he's trying really hard all the time, and sometimes the harder that you try and the more you try and grasp the soap, the further away it gets. What I see with Darwin Nunez is a rough diamond, a raw young lad with some rough edges that need to be knocked off him. And I think he just needs to get himself organised. And Klopp needs to organise him, Liverpool need to organise, and he needs to organise himself. And I think there's a really good player in there at the moment trying to get out. I just think he needs to learn this league. I actually think, I agree with Albert, that he'll come back next season, and I think he'll be good. The only thing I would say, though, about Liverpool, and something really stark hit me slap in the face last night, especially with us going there on Saturday. I've been talking to some of the Forest lads today, right? And they were saying, did you notice the substitution Klopp made in the second half where he had like Nunez, Diaz, and Firmino coming on? And we were like, and all the Forest lads went, oh my God, kill me now. You know what I mean? Because it was just the most frightening substitution. And the thing for Darwin Nunez is maybe he's seeing Diaz is back now and he's got to deal with all of that. I think he may end up being a flop. I might be wrong about him, but I just see there's a potentially good player.
I like ice cold.
23, isn't he?
He's 24, yeah, in
he's a babby, really.
Months. But what's it called? For me, I like ice cold, cool finishes. You know, when I just like the composure in front of a goal, and I just don't like strikers that lack composure in front of a goal, because I know when I need one, he ain't gonna dink it over the keeper.
Yeah.
But listen,
I don't think you learn that. I don't think you learn that. I think it's instinctive.
I'm not the world's biggest stat guy at all, but when I'm looking at his career, and this is just league games, right? So if you look at his time at Almeria, he got 19 goal contributions in 32 games. He got 16 goal contributions in 29 games in his first season at Benfica, 30 goal contributions in 28 games. And in the league, he's got 12 in 24 for Liverpool. These are not, I'm not saying he's the prettiest on the eye, but these aren't terrible stats in any way, shape or form, are they? And then when you look at, hang on, just quickly, Kaz, just quickly, mate. If I'm looking at his European history for the last 3 seasons, in Europe in the last 3 seasons, if my maths doesn't fail me, he's played 25 games and he's got 18 goal contributions in Europe. So these are good statistics for a 23-year-old. And my question is this: if Darwin Nunez had joined the Premier League and had cost 30 million, would we all be having this conversation now, or has that price tag killed him before he's even started?
Well, that's like Anthony then, isn't it? Because Anthony's got like 14 GA this season, but that 80 million price tag's killing him.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Price tags everything. For is that enough goals or assists in a season in games that you need to win and stuff like that? Is that enough to what's it called? Is that enough for the price tag that you paid for him?
I've got a question. I've got a question. Sorry, a quick one. You see, if let's say Nunez went to City, do you think he has more goals?
Say again, sorry.
If Nunez is at City, let's say Haaland's not playing up front, they bought Nunez instead. Do you think Nunez has more goals? Not saying he's got 32.
Of course
but
he does.
Does he have 28? Does he have 26?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they struggle a little bit.
I think he does.
Because you know why I don't think he has 28 is because it was only not. Haaland's a different beast, isn't it? When it comes to finishing, it's different. Positions he gets into are a bit different. I just think there was only not too long ago where he was questioning City not even me, but particularly most people about if Haaland suits this City team. And I think Nunez is way more rough than Haaland, in my opinion. He doesn't have the clutch gene in them moments. He's
not more polished.
Of course, when you've got KDB around you, Bernardo Silva and them, of course you're gonna have more goals, man. Of course you are.
But that was like Iheanacho.
It's like Iheanacho when he was at City. Look how many goals he scored. Still got rid of him. Not good enough.
I think it's difficult though. When we're using Erling Haaland as the example, it's kind of a bit unfair, isn't it? Like,
no, because at the start of the season, it was the comparison of Nunez and Haaland who's going to have the better season.
I agree, but that would tell me that people didn't watch the Bundesliga if anyone was making those comparisons. But look, I do want to wrap the show up in about 5-6 minutes. So before we do, I want to talk about Arsenal and City. I feel like we have to, right? Well, we have to, right? Look, it's.
Go on, Albert. Stick up for yourself, mate.
Sav, you should give me enough more time this time. Anyway, that's all right.
Listen. Look, this is turning into a proper title race now. I think a lot of people have been talking about this title race, but for a while, City weren't really in it. Liverpool. Arsenal had quite a decent lead. They still have the lead, but has it swung, Albert? In your opinion, if you can take your Arsenal hat off for 1 sec, has it swung, or are you still thinking that this title is Arsenal's?
It's interesting the way you phrase that question, because at the start of the stream, I don't know what Arsenal fans you know, Savs, by the way, but the ones that I know, they haven't really got above their station this season because they've suffered from PTSD over the years that have gone by in terms of not being competitive. It's been so long. But Savva, honestly, the fear in some Arsenal fans is palpable, honestly, because it's been like that for weeks, by the way. And I think, and I always say this in terms of, can Arsenal win the league title? Of course they can. Will they win it? I said to people, ask me after City, and that's still the case. Whether we were 7 points, 5 points, 6 points, whatever. Savva, a title race is supposed to be difficult. That's the most obvious statement I can say to you. I find it odd, like when I've seen some of the media coverage, especially this season. I have to be honest, obviously, because we're in a title race, and people are talking about it. It's a disaster, the result Arsenal got. They're crumbling. I've seen the bottle word come up. I just think it's a little bit disingenuous, mate. I can take banter, I can take criticism. I'm a YouTube content creator, as you know, but there's a difference between banter and just being a little bit disrespectful.
I think a lot of it, Albert, feels like sensationalism these days in football, right? Look, I've said all along, I'm not apologizing. I've said all along, I think City will win it. I've said for a long time now, I think they're going to do a treble. But what makes me laugh, if I'm going to stick up for Arsenal a little bit here, is, and I was only joking with you at the beginning of the stream, is that you guys haven't lost for 9. You haven't lost for 9 league games. You've taken 24 points out of 29 or something. I don't know, 28 or whatever. My maths is poor there, but why is this narrative coming? And I'll come to you other boys after us from other clubs. Why is this bottle word? I mean, I hate it, but why is this narrative of bottle?
Because it's a bottle, man. You got to call it for what it is. I'm sorry. Look, now the narrative changes. At Anfield, okay, subject to bottle is Anfield, but when you're 2-0 up and you can win the game, you bottled it, mate. I'm sorry. There's a prize on the line, especially now against West Ham, where you expected to win. You've got a prize on the line. It's not that West Ham were better either. They weren't. It's like, I wouldn't say Newcastle bottled it to Aston Villa because Aston Villa were class. Arsenal were good. Like, they were good. Like, Aston Villa were sick. So, for me, you're 2-0 up. West Ham is slapped all over the season. You've got to get those 3 points. I'm sorry, you were 8 points clear at some. You had 11 points at some point in the season as well. You are choking. That's my opinion. You're choking. It's like Man United against Sevilla. That is a bottle job.
But Kaz, what if so Arsenal, if I'm not wrong, play Southampton at home on Saturday, right? Or Friday, or I don't know, it's one of them weekends, isn't it?
Do us a favour, Albert.
If they go and slap Southampton like they should 4 or 5-0, and they've won 8 out of 10 games, and the other 2 are draws, is that cracking? Is that bottling? Or is that just brilliant form that's being bettered by a brilliant team?
Not for me. Go check how many. So in the last 10 games for the last 3 years, Man City have only dropped points in 3 games in the last 3 seasons. That's the expectation. Now, like I said last week, when your rivals are bigging you up, saying you won a league since January, you won a league in January, February, and you've had all this chest. I'm sorry, you've made it now your case that you're going to win the league. So now the expectation is higher. Now, if Man City catch you, and we were all saying City don't look as good, it's not the same City, and it's that I expect you to go win this league now. The expectation is there. So now, if you don't go and win it, I'm sorry, but you've crumbled. Apple crumble, like proper. It's done.
Savva,
And then guess what? And the thing is, you have to. You know what it is? I think it's that you have to acknowledge it, because I've been there myself. Many Liverpool have been there, and yes, you gave them a great run to the very end. But don't tell me, oh, we're having a better season and this, that, and the other. We weren't expected to do this anyways. I'm happy with this. No, you're not. No Arsenal fan is happy with that 0 trophies this season. You don't go and put yourself out of 3 other cups to focus on 1 cup and tell me that you're tired and this, that, and the other. You come out the Europa League, FA League Cup early as well. This is all yours. 1 game a week. Why can't you go do it then? You have to own up to it.
Yeah. Look, as I alluded to at the start, I don't know what Arsenal fans you know, but the ones that I know are quite appreciative of actually being in the conversation for the first time in a long time. And that's absolutely in answer to your sort of earlier question about the bottle thing. What it is, this is my own humble opinion, and let's have it right. Arsenal have been the butt of jokes for some rival fans for a number of years. I've seen it on watch-alongs. I've seen it in over-exaggerated YouTube content. I mentioned about being disingenuous and being a little bit disrespectful. And we're not liked. There's a very famous George Graham conversation with Arsenal players. They will probably remember it, even as a Forest fan. It was a long time ago, about being hated and not liked. I've always been aware of it as an Arsenal fan. Being in the YouTube space, I've noticed it a lot more in the last 2 or 3 years. This season has gone above and beyond from what I've seen. And the fact of the matter is, Sav, we're not liked. And if Arsenal do go on and win the league title, I've heard it. I've got the crime sheet. We've only played 9 games. We've only played 11 games. We've only played 12 games. We haven't beaten anybody. We lost to Man City the day after Valentine's Day. Arsenal going to beat Apple crumble, as Cass alluded to. We went on a 7-game unbeaten run. Haven't lost in 9. We're playing a juggernaut in the team in regards to Man City. If that's being a bottle job, so be it.
Let me ask you. Sorry, JJ. I know you need to jump in a second. Just before you jump, where do you stand on this as somebody who's not in this title race this year? By the way, I'm not having a dig because we're never. No. I'm not having a dig. We don't do titles or title races. From the perspective, like, I look at it very different. Like Kaz and I look at this very differently. I know a lot of people go, well, goals and aspirations change as the season goes on. But I've always looked at this and thought Arsenal are not the better team. I don't think at any point I thought Arsenal were the better team. City were just off form. City are now on fire. And by the way, the season's not finished yet, right? We're talking like it's finished.
Very key point. Very key point. Yeah.
I think if City do win this title and Arsenal finish second on 90 odd points from where they were last year, I think that's the mother of all overachievements as opposed to bottling a title. That's the way I look at it. And I wish I didn't because it's Arsenal, but that's the way I look at it for fairness.
I'm in between with this one because, like, I understand that. And look, if Arsenal were given this opportunity back in August and told, look, you've got 10 games left, you're going to be leading the league, and you're going to have to play City. Anyone, I know as a Liverpool fan, I'd take it. Any fan would take it. So they've done incredibly well. But look, they're not a better team than City until they become a better team. And the only way they do that is by winning. So Liverpool only were in the conversation in terms of who's the better team with City is only when we went and won the league. If we didn't win the league, we'd have always just been second best. And even now, when you look at it, history is like it's been a blue moon and we're just like Leicester. We've won one league, and it doesn't matter how many points we accumulated and how many times we were the bridesmaid. Unfortunately, we were second. We were the first losers. So it's Arsenal for me. When you're in this position now, like this is what makes Arsenal, and you might not ever be in this position again. Like Liverpool thought, look, we'd win one league and we're going to go and win another one, and right now it looks like we're so far off. And we were on for a quad last season, so you just don't know when that situation is going to arise. Look at Leicester. Leicester won the league, and they look like they might get relegated. And I'm not alluding to Arsenal being relegated, but you just never know when your time's going to come. And City look so confident. You have to go and capitalize, and that's what Liverpool did when we won the league. That's what you need to be able to do. Is that any little slip up, you capitalize, and that's what City are trying to do to Arsenal now. And I feel that if Arsenal are going to become that team, then you've got to go and win it now. If you don't win it now, that's going to play on these players' minds, especially when you haven't gone and won the Champions League or done something else to give you that belief. You've ended the season with nothing, and that's going to be the thing that's going to. The players are going to have to come around and kind of get over in a short space of time, because the season starts up really, really quickly. So it's going to be interesting, man.
Well, listen, I do want to wrap the show up in 60 seconds or so. Any last words from anyone about Man City versus Arsenal? Dave, you want to go quickly?
Go on, Dave.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are well ahead of the schedule they set for themselves at the start of the season. My view is that Arsenal are into their own bonus territory. I think at the start of the season, Arsenal's main target was, wow, let's see if we can get in the top four. And they've gone beyond what they wanted to achieve. I take Cassie's point about context and goals and ambitions change as the season go on. But I think at the moment, you know, again, we take away our club loyalties and we look in a logical sense. I think City are a better team than Arsenal. I think it's more down to City not being at their absolute best that's made it more of a race, and they've allowed Arsenal to get ahead of them. You know, I kind of come back to the point we started the show with, where we talked about, you know, if you like, in Europe, City are Arsenal and Real Madrid are City.
Yeah.
But here in this country, you know, City know how to do it. They, you know, Pep can sit in that room and he'll look and say, "You've done it, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it." Mikel Arteta's looking in it and saying, "You can do it." But we'll see. I think
there's a couple of players in there that have done it. To be fair, that's why they bring him in.
Yeah, but I just think they're a team. I mean, the way Arsenal were last season. If you said to me, if you said to me 18 months ago, Nottingham Forest to be in the Premier League, don't be stupid. Arsenal will be challenging for the title and be ahead of the mighty Manchester City, don't be stupid. I don't like the word bottle. It indicates to me that somebody is purposely going out of their way to sabotage their own chances. I think Arsenal are giving the lot, but I just think they'll find that this title-winning machine, which is in its pomp now and has gone into trophy, I think City will beat them at the Etihad. I think it'll be a good game, but I think City will beat them, and I just think City will overhaul them. And then Arsenal will get to the end of the season and say, "Well, that went better than we thought. Right, we'll have a real good crack at it next year." And Arsenal, I think Arsenal
are happy though.
Well, they'll be disappointed. It depends.
We're not going to be happy.
That's a great point. It's about
Exactly.
delusion. It's about we've had delusion in our club. Oh, we'll finish 10th, 11th, 9th, and I'm like, do me a favour, give me 17th now and stop bullshitting me, right? And if I was an Arsenal fan this year and you'd say to me, "Tell you what, Dave, you support Arsenal, in April, you'll be 3 points clear of that lot and you're in with a chance when nobody gave you credit," I'd say, yeah, I'll take that now. I don't think Arsenal win it, but I think Arsenal are now a much more attractive prospect, I think, for players who will come and think, well, actually, we might win something with them. You know, so I think City win it, and I agree with everything Savva said, that it was always going to be City. City were always lingering in the background, and I agree with him on that. So I think Arsenal season is a success, but it just depends where you look from. And again, this is where opinions come in. Some people say, no, we're bottling it. We should have won the league. Others say, no, we're ahead of schedule. So my view is one. But
Savva said the key point in the season is not finished yet.
Look, the season hasn't
absolutely.
finished. I
7 games to go, Albert. We might not be relegated. You might be champions, Albert.
Yes.
You never know.
I am going to wrap up the show, but the last thing I'll say is this: the problem is it can't. Every time a team loses a game now in the league, is they bottled it. Sometimes it is that the other team is better, right? Sometimes that
Manchester
the other
United
team
at our place much better. Fantastic team.
But look, let's see, because if Arsenal do win the league, a lot of these people that have been throwing the bottle accusation are going to look silly. So look, let's see. Having said
if they don't, it's going to be called the Great Choke. That's what it is. You are 11
great
points
apple crumble,
clear.
Kaz.
Yes, you are 11 points clear at some point. You fucked it up. Sorry for swearing. And if you don't, it's where it is, man. And you know, it's back to I wanted you to beat West Ham. I don't want City winning this league. I can't stand it. I own a channel with a City fan. I can't be bothered for it. The treble is on. That's sickening.
I know him very well.
You lot, Hugh Daps. Yes, Daps is a very good friend of mine too. Just quickly before we go, please listen. Thank you to everyone who's been in. JJ, just quickly, where can people find you and where can they subscribe?
You can find me on the Jerry James Show. The links in the little bubble down below. If you want to just chat about Liverpool football, have some banter as well, feel free. Sav, appreciate obviously being on the Football Heritage. Enjoyed chopping up with obviously Albert and Dave as well. Kaz, obviously I've known him for a while now, but big up to yourselves.
No worries.
Apologies. Saturday, Jerry.
Good luck. I mean, I'm talking to the players, but we're going to need some luck, I think.
Funny,
I think it's going to be about 5-0.
I do.
Albert, everybody, they've seen you before. Where they can find you at Albert JTV, Arsenal. What sort of content you got going on?
They can, and you'll find me here, there, and everywhere on many other Arsenal channels as well. But yeah, our own channel, Albert JTV. Nothing in the pipeline as of yet. I did a stream earlier today, but which is a bit away from Arsenal Weekly Surgery. But yeah, Savva, pleasure to come on, and hopefully we'll have a conversation at the end of the season as well.
Listen, if you win it, I'll say fair play. I do think City will win the treble. Kaz, where can people find you, my man?
Literally called Never a Foul. So that thing that happened on Van Dijk from Pickford was never a foul, and it wasn't, to be fair. Also, like I just want to point out that Liverpool got a game in hand. For all you Tottenham supporters, if they win that, which they probably are, they got to play Tottenham at some point, and they'll go level on points. All of a sudden, you might end up 8th this season. But yeah, Tottenham fans, hold that one. Liverpool fans, you stink anyways. And man, never a foul.
Brilliant. So subscribe to those guys. If you want to see more of Dave, you just switch on Sky Sports during the Nottingham Forest game. You will see him somewhere in the crowd there, geeing everyone up.
Anfield, Saturday, Row G.
Being ultra positive, even at 7-0 down, he'll be there. He'll be happy.
Happy clapping it as my senility approaches.
With Mr. Ben as well, Mr. Dory.
Him. He stood next to me actually. I'm going up in the car with him on Saturday. It's going to be fantastic. Seeing my team at Anfield after so many years out of the Premier League, whatever the result, it's going to be a fantastic occasion, and I'm just loving it. It's absolutely brilliant. Love football, love the Premier League. Let's just hope we stay in it.
Well, Dave, I feel the complete opposite about Spurs. I can't stand them. Can't stand the Premier League at the moment, and not loving the football. It's like watching paint dry. But never mind. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to myself. We're chasing down. We're just over 300 away from the 5K mark now in just over a year. So please smash that subscribe button. And I've just gone live on Spotify. If anyone wants to hear my dulcet, sexy, husky voice on their car radio. Kaz, don't laugh. I've been told it's true. Everybody,
you don't have to listen. Not everything your mum says is true, by the way. Just saying.
She lied to me. But listen, thank you very much. We're going to end it there. We'll see you again next week, where there'll be more talking points. Man United will hopefully be out the FA Cup. Arsenal.
Come on, Brighton.
Everyone I talk to hates me. Everyone I speak to, I just infect them to hate Man United, and I love it.
I love it. No, I'm only joking. I don't care. The season's over. Listen, guys, thank you very much. We're going to end the show there, and much love. Cheers, everyone.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. It's 4.